We were the only Indian family in our small southern town. I was teased every day for being brown. So anyone that wants to question it can go back and look at what I've said on how hard it was to grow up in the deep South as a brown girl. Anybody can look at my record and see when Walter Scott was shot down by a dirty cop, how I made sure that the Walter Scott family didn't suffer because we put the first body camera bill in the country in place. Anybody can look at the fact that when we had 9 amazing souls die in Mother Emanuel Church, I did something that no Republican or Democrat ever wanted to touch, which was call for the Confederate flag to come down because it would take 2/3 of the House and Senate and was an impossible feat. I don't know what you're implying with that, but what I will tell you is saying that I had black friends is a source of pride. Saying that I had white friends is a source of pride. If you want to know what it was like growing up, I was disqualified from a beauty pageant because I wasn't white or black, because they didn't know where to put me. So look, I know the hardships, the pain that come with racism. It's the reason that I fight bullies every day when it comes to racism, anti-Semitism, or hate, and I always will. If I didn't mention slavery on that day, it's because that's an automatic. There's always been, the Civil War's always been known about slavery.
Oh, you done, Nikki? Okay. I'm trying to put all the pieces and puzzles together after that interview with Nikki Haley about she got picked on and bullied on about being brown. Guys, I understand that she has some Indian traits and heritage in her family, but let's stick on that about the whole me being picked on because I was brown. I grew up in the deep South. They picked on me because I was brown. You have to, when you label yourself like that, you have to be careful on how you label it. Brown. What is she trying to pull here, Joseph?
Well, I don't get all the hate for Nikki or DeSantis. Again, I'm supporting Trump in this primary, but I don't get sometimes people's need to be cultish for their candidate, therefore have to hate on everyone else. Nikki, I thought, did a fair job as South Carolina governor. She did a fine job as UN ambassador for the Trump administration. She would never be one of my choices in a GOP primary for president. You know, governor, president, whole other thing. But I don't get this, this need to hate.
Since you're on that, I noticed the polling has gone up a slight bit with Nikki in the last week. She's polling about a 39%, literally in the hairs of Donald Trump. Donald Trump polling, what was it, about 52%, if I had that correct, Shaky? About 52%. So she's not that far behind Trump with the polling.
Yeah, in the one state, she's not going to get the nomination. But you know what? Maybe 2028, whatever. If she were to somehow, by some miracle, get the GOP nomination for president in the future, obviously, I would hold my nose and vote for her, even though she wouldn't be my preferred choice, over any Democrat. Just like I did John McLean, who was certainly not my choice for president, over Obama. Just as I did Mitt Romney, who was fine as governor of a blue state. you're never going to get an ultra-conservative Republican elected governor of Massachusetts. So he was fine for Massachusetts governor, but I would never want him as president. But yeah, I held my nose and
but are
voted
these
for him.
polls like, I mean, can we trust the polls? Obviously we can't, because we've seen manipulation in the past with other candidates that showed the same so to speak of what I'm referring to. But just a week ago, she was polling in the low 20s. Now she's up damn near almost 40%. I mean, are they doing that to manipulate it and to say, oh, Nikki Haley is getting the favor of Americans all over the country? She's polling 39% and Trump's polling 52%. Nikki's right behind Trump. Are they doing that to try to wedge in distraction points or anything like that, Joe?
Well, the polls, it depends on the poll, for one, and the devil's in the details. So obviously, I got to know how was it weighted? How many did they sample? Exactly when was it? What group did they poll? So are the polls manipulated? Oftentimes, yes, they do a push poll rather than an actual.
I think that's what they're doing here, though,
poll.
with Nikki. Yeah.
Well, but with Nikki, depending on when this. Remember, the black guy, Tim Scott, dropped out. The other brown person, Vivek, is out now. So, could Nikki have gotten some more identity politics style type voting because she's of Indian descent and a female?
Notice how she's not attacking Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy is of brown descent, right? He's got brown skin, and he dropped out.
Could she be picking up in the identity politics aspect of it? Plus, again, how many supposed independents that aren't really independents being polled in this poll who are shifting to Nikki just to be anti-Trump?
But she's doing the same shit that that Hillary did back in 2016. Remember, she did that identity politics shit, with against Trump and this and that, and try to pull more supporters in. Yeah.
I don't want to hate on Nikki here. Again, she's not my choice, would never be my choice for president unless she's my only option and I have to hold my nose for her on election day. But not to hate on her. She didn't bring this up. That Plant at her town hall brought up that slavery, what was the Confederates and the Civil War all about bullshit question, which...
Oh, she said that she was one of the first to take down the Confederate flag and bring it up to the presentation and all that other stupid goddamn shit.
My opinion was she blew the answer, not by what she said, but in that what she should have said, which as a politician, she should have said, what is the point of your question? How is that relevant to this election? Unless if you're pushing for reparations, which made sense at the time, but the Confederates murdered Lincoln, who was offering the reparations. So what is the point of your question? How is it relevant to this election rather than... put him on the spot rather than answer the way she did. I'm not going to give her flack, for the answer she gave because, slavery is a given. The Confederate States fought for states' rights, but what was the main state right they wanted? The right to hold slaves. So I'm not going to give her flack over her answer, but the media, of course, is attacking her on this. So I'm giving her slack on this discussion and her brownness because it's not her that brought it up. It's others that brought it up because
and that kind of ties back to, you said state rights. That kind of ties back to this past Tuesday, guys. We had a gentleman on that was a libertarian that wanted to pose state
Libertarian.
rights. And, oh God, you guys got to check that. Oh, what was it, about an hour and 15-minute show we did? I mean, oh my God, like there was some things that he was bringing in that I was agreeing with certain views and thoughts on state rights, but then half the stuff he wanted, like Joe, you said, he wanted to rewrite history. You know what I mean? Just rewrite the history.
Some of it he had accurate, some of it he did not. He tried to pull a Howard Zinn about the Federalists. The Federalists were the ones who wanted to rewrite the Articles of Confederation, not to be confused with the Confederate States Constitution. The original Articles of Confederation they felt were too weak. Federalists literally wanted more federal power. Literally. That was their point and purpose. The Anti-Federalists put them in check, and the U.S. Constitution, a weak federal government, but a federal government with some authorities and powers nonetheless, was a result. But he tried peddling Federalists were anti-Federalists, dismissing tens of thousands of accredited historians who have written on that subject for centuries.
He didn't want to acknowledge what you were trying to correct him on. He's like, no, sir, that's not correct. That's not correct. You know, you were like, no, Jack, that was the anti-Federalist. And he was like, no. And then you were like...
Now, again, I wrote on this. The first piece I wrote for thelibertybeacon.com, and you can find me there. Search Joseph M. Leonard for all my articles there, was today's fascia Federalists versus original intent Federalists. Now, there's no comparing today's Federalists with yesteryear's Federalists. I will grant and concede that, absolutely. But they wanted more federal power. There's no denying that as a reality. And the Jeffersons and other Federalists of the time went on to form the Federalist Party, which later morphed into the Democrat Party, which is today's Fascocrats Party. Why does that all matter? They have always been about more and more and more federal power from the get-go. From the very start, the Federalist and Democrat presidents wanted to try to build more federal authority. Look at Wilson. Massive expansion. FDR, massive expansion. LBJ, massive expansion. Obama, what do they all have in common? They are the lineage from the Federalists.
Oh, yeah. And, guys, you notice that we just put up Joseph's QR code. Thank you very much, whoever just scanned that code. Thank you very much. I just seen a search on that. You could check Joseph out on his podcast, Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. The QR codes, guys, that go right up in the live stream. So thank you very much for supporting Joseph's channel and podcast there. Guys, we're talking about, I'm calling her Delusional Nikki because she is delusional at times. She likes putting in these little tactics to try to win over her supporters against her opponent. Guys, also, too, guys, I'd like to bring this in. There's a trucking convoy coming up. That's right, guys. Take back our border, right? Take our border back, truck convoy 2024. It's going to start January 29th, and it's going to go all the way to February 3rd. It's going to start up in Virginia, make its way down towards Florida, around Jacksonville, over towards the panhandle of Florida, on over towards Mississippi, into Texas. So if you guys want to get any information on this this convoy that is being organized by truckers, here in America. Scan this QR code, guys, and you'll get all the information. Thank you very much. Hat tip to you guys. Take our border back convoy 2024. It's now or never, guys. Our border is under siege. We're getting a huge amount of an invasion here in the United States. And
yeah, amen. I am looking forward to that, and I also understand, since I'm in the Detroit area, our friends just across the river in Ontario, Canada, Canuckia, as I love to tease them, the Great White North, are putting together another freedom convoy up there too. So this is important stuff. But again, from the very start, the Federalist Party that the Federalists created began attempting to add more and more federal power. That is indisputable history that he tried to dispute. Tens of thousands of very accredited, including my favorite historian, David Barton, have written on this forever and ever and ever. So, it's not me saying it. Again, like I say, like Reagan, trust but verify. Don't take my word for anything.
No, look it up.
Don't take anybody else's. Research.
Look the information up, guys, so you don't think like we're just like spewing out like bullshit, because we're not. We're spewing out facts, but we also challenge you to look it up yourselves so you can understand and educate yourself. A lot of media outlets, they don't say that, trust but verify. They just slap it right in front of you, and then you're like, wow, that must be true because CNN or Fox News said it. No. Look it up, and you'll understand. Right. You'll educate yourselves.
DuckDuckGo, Jibberoo, FreeSpoke, not Google. Google's great for finding the cheapest widget. But if you're looking for facts, you want DuckDuckGo, Jibberoo, or FreeSpoke.
And you know what? Factual information,
Right. I'm human. I make mistakes, and I will admit when I make a mistake if you can correct me. Like, I've used the word liberal forever all the time. And Dennis Prager is correct. I stand corrected. There is a world of difference between a classical liberal, like a Brandon Strzok or a Candace Owens, who were reachable and red-pilled, versus a leftist. So I've been using the word liberal. I was wrong in doing it. I should have been using the word leftist. I admit when I have said something wrong or am wrong. I'm not one of these morons who, I've said it, so it must be true. I can be corrected.
Hold that thought, Joseph. I want to switch some gears, guys. I want to get into the New Hampshire primary, guys. We got a clip here. Check out this clip here.
Bring in National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign, Carolyn Levitt. Carolyn, good morning to you. So you just heard the latest poll numbers out of New Hampshire. Trump at 50%, Nikki Haley at 39%. Can you give us specifics on what success looks like for the Trump campaign in New Hampshire?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Governor DeSantis, as President Trump did as well. It was the right thing to do for Ron DeSantis to drop out of this race, and as it has become very clear that Republican voters want to reelect President Trump back to the White House. The only Republican in America who has not admitted that to themselves appears to be Nikki Haley, who is still parading around New Hampshire, even though she does not have a clear pathway to victory here, just like she did not in Iowa. That is because voters here in New Hampshire realize that Nikki Haley is more of a Democrat than a Republican. Her campaign is funded by Democrat donors. Her staffers are former Democrat lobbyists, and her campaign is specifically targeting formerly Democrat voters to turn out and vote in tomorrow's primary. Here at the Trump campaign, we are heavily focused on turning out Republican voters and common sense independents who want to secure our border, rebuild our American economy, reinvest in our domestic energy industry, history to bring down the cost of utility bills here in our great state and to also restore peace around this globe. And so there are not enough Democrats in this Republican primary tomorrow for Nikki Haley to be successful. So we're very confident that those votes from Governor DeSantis and also Vivek Ramaswamy will come over to President Trump. We encourage those voters to get out tomorrow to send a very clear and strong message, just like the people of Iowa did, that we will nominate President Trump as our Republican nominee. And let's turn away the page from this Republican primary so we can take the fight to our real opponent, who is Joe Biden and the Democrats that are destroying this country.
Okay, but that said, Haley has not suspended her campaign as of yet. All eyes will be on her to see what she does after New Hampshire. But I thought our colleague, Kayleigh McEnany, who obviously worked with President Trump for a number of years, had a really great read on what happens next. Listen to this.
That was definitely a conciliatory tone. It reminds me of his victory speech in Iowa, where he praised his opponents, praised his rivals. That's the kind of tone he will need for the next 9 months if he wants to prevail against Joe Biden. Where I think his challenge is, both here and going forward into a general election, is winning over the Nikki Haley voter, winning over the establishment voter, winning over the independent, which is why I think that vice presidential pick is so important.
Okay, Caroline, so can Donald Trump win over that Haley voter both in your state of New Hampshire and nationally?
Of course he can. I think President Trump can win over any rational, common sense American that believes in this country, that realizes that they were much better off under President Trump's leadership than they are today under Joe Biden's leadership. President Trump did more.
Yeah, I think we wow. I want to touch on something that they just said, that Nikki Haley is more of a Democrat than a Republican. Huh. I wonder why they're going to that route, Joseph, that she's more of a Democrat than a Republican.
I want to respond to that, but
why do you feel that?
I also want to go back to the time and circumstances sometimes change. In 2000, I was supporting John Kasich, not G.W. Bush, in the primary. But Kasich then became governor of Ohio and moved left. In 2016, I sure as heck never would have supported Kasich for president in that primary because of it. Time and circumstances change, people change. Nikki is not a conservative. Nah. She's a moderate, and I've got no problem with her being a moderate Republican. But again, that means she's not going to be my choice in a primary for president on the GOP side. But also, to be honest and fair and not be a cult for anyone, Trump isn't conservative either. He's a populist, okay? There are differences. And look at Trump's first term. He's not above criticism. He didn't veto nor even threaten to veto one spending bill. We need him to be more of a fiscal conservative this next time around and veto spending bills to reduce spending. Look at all the debt that Trump added to the national debt his first term. I'm supporting him. I demand he do better a second term. So because I'm supporting him doesn't mean I think he's beyond criticism. You got to criticize these people when deserving in order to get better from them. We cannot put another 6, 10, 12 trillion in debt in a second Trump term. It can't be allowed to happen.
Well, I want to touch on something which they just mentioned, that she's more of a Democrat, because I want to give my views and thoughts on it, guys. But I want to get this QR code in, guys. For those who love Blackout Coffee, guys, hit this QR code. Amazing stuff. Really, it is America's choice for coffee. I can't emphasize it more than enough. It's one of my favorites. I love Blackout Coffee. I love their blends. They're very patriotic type of a company. 2A and guns and gadgets. I mean, literally, I love that one. Just the 2A behind it. Brutal Awakening, another one that I bought and everything, and I use on a daily basis. It's tremendous coffee, guys. It doesn't give you the oily residue like so many other chained companies do. You know, the oil residue. You know what I'm talking about. After you brew it, you look at the top of your coffee mug and you see like this little type of it's terrible, Joseph. I mean, this blackout coffee, no oily residue, guys. Check them out today. Head over to blackoutcoffee.com. Like I said, scan the QR code, guys. You're gonna get amazing.
But I got
be awake, guys, not woke.
Yeah.
And get some coffee with values. Literally, can't say.
But I think the bottom line tagline is that savaged after a night of blackout drunk, he likes blackout coffee.
You
couldn't resist.
I know you can't resist, guys. I want to comment a little bit here. As Joe brought his comment with the Democrat label there, they labeled Nikki. I can see why they're labeling her more of a Democrat than a Republican, because some of the, the pitches and her messaging and stuff like that with some of the attacks and everything does kind of resemble a little bit of a Democrat, Joseph. I'll have to admit to that. It does sound a little Democratic than Republican. Republican, they really don't talk like that. Well, at least some conservatives don't talk like that.
Well,
so do you feel that she's kind of using Democratic agendas to try to bring in some of her supporters, more supporters to her base, or what?
That may not be unfair to say, but at the same time, again, you've got to appeal often to a lot of different people, especially if you prepare for the general election. You can get away with, as a Democrat, fascocrats, red meat, or as a Republican, conservative, or as I would say, constitutionalist talking point, red meat, like an MTG loves to spew, but behind the scenes, she's all hat, no cattle, she doesn't do anything.
Well, Joseph, check out this clip that she was up in up north at a rally, Shaky or Beth. We can't say a rally, more of like a town hall scenario. A clip here that's surfacing all of social media. Check this out, guys.
Do we really want to have two presidential candidates in their 80s? No. No, let me explain this, because I'm not being disrespectful when I say that. What I am saying is, and it's the same reason why I've said we need to have mental competency tests in Congress. I don't care if you do it for every member of Congress. But the issue is, these are people making decisions on our national security. These are people making decisions on the future of our economy. We all know seniors who can run circles around us. This is the most pressured job in the country. You can't make a mistake on this. And what happens yesterday is just a fact. Trump goes on multiple times saying that I prevented the security on January 6th at the Capitol. I wasn't even anywhere near the Capitol. I wasn't in office. He said it over and over again. The reality is he was confused. He was confused the same way he said Joe Biden was going to start World War II. He was confused the same way that he said he ran against President Obama. It was Hillary Clinton. These things happen because the more you age, it just does, you have decline. Look at Joe Biden. He's totally different now than he was 2 years ago. That's a fact. It's what happens. But more than that, Congress has become the most privileged nursing home in the country. When you look at the younger generation, they want to see us moving forward. They want to see these people getting out of the way. They want new solutions, not the same old thing. So it's not being disrespectful.
Young people want climate solutions.
And we'll talk about that. Hold on one second.
Because you take $7 million from oil billionaires. Boo! Except 70 million.
Let her talk.
Let her talk. Have a good afternoon. Bye. 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 You will not be visited. You're a climate criminal. Trump is a climate criminal.
Bye-bye. Enough of that. There was one part of the clip, Joseph, where she said that that we don't need 80-year-old candidates in president.
You know what? I'm not a cultist for or against anybody. There are things in there she said I agree with, things in there she said I disagree with. I will be an honest broker analyst always. I'm not going to just jump on one thing or the other. Now,
what about the part where she said that we shouldn't have 80-year-old candidates in office or running?
That's what I was getting to. She said
I agree to that, but if they do have a cognate in their brain to run, that shouldn't disqualify them.
Right.
If they are incompetent, yes, that should give them a reason to be disqualified. So I do agree half of it, and the other half I don't.
I'm right there with you. She said D.C. is the biggest nursing home in the nation. That was a great line.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I agree. Now,
Joe, we have a senior citizen in the White House. She's right about that. I mean,
but competency. So I agree with her. There should be competency tests there, but it is also true. Trump will run circles around Biden, and I would run circles around Biden. But yeah, she also said we all know some elderly people who could run circles around us. Me at age 60, gonna turn 62. I know some 80-year-olds that are certainly more on the ball at times than I can be. So yeah, so that she's right. The competency level, not the age, is what matters, but you have to delineate an age to designate where that competency test comes in. So again, I'm with her in some regards. I'm not with her in some regards. As to what Trump said, again, Trump had a brain fart. And, everybody can have a gaffe. I've run for office. I've had gaffes on the campaign trail because you've got a lot of things going through your head, so I can excuse that. But in Joe Biden's case, it's gaffe after gaffe after gaffe.
Yeah, well, listen to this, Joseph. We actually had a clip that Trump had presented about Nikki Haley, and he was right on the money with it. Check this clip out, guys.
Nikki Haley, state director in New Hampshire. This is a very bad one. Listen carefully. Tyler Clark. Did anyone ever hear of him? He was a lobbyist for the 1630 Fund, which is managed by Arabella Advisors, which is the largest Democrat dark money network in the country and considered public enemy #1. That's who's managing her campaign. Does that tell you something, perhaps? The 1630 Fund and the larger Arabella Fund, you know who that is? It's a network, and they're giving her a lot of money because they want her to win because they don't want to run. Hey, look, they lost in 2016.
Yeah, Trump at times says some wild, outlandish
What's your
things.
views on that one, Joe, with the Trump clip?
I'm just going to bypass that and go to 2016. Trump gets hyperbolic and says some really stupid things at times. That's what people don't like about him, his character. He'll say off the wall, outlandish, stupid stuff at times. 2016, he accused Ted Cruz's father, Raphael, as somehow being involved in the JFK assassination. That just really fucking dumb, stupid shit that comes out of his mouth at times. But that's different, like what Nikki's saying, than a gaffe. Those are different things. So I get at times Trump says some really dumb things, but I'll take Trump any day over Biden, and I'll take Trump in the here and now over Nikki Haley for sure.
Yeah, I hear you. Nikki Haley has said some dumb things, guys. Really. It is cold there. I understand there, yeah.
They all do. Again, my whiteboard. It's cold here in Michigan. Send me some hot chocolate. I'm getting low on Swiss Miss mix. But again, I've run for office, and I try to be careful to never go to that degree of saying really dumb, hyperbolic, outlandish shit that ain't true. But yes, sorry, Trump is indeed a politician, like all these other politicians. They say some really stupid shit at times. I don't like it, but these are the choices we've got. And Trump.
But I don't do it because what they do is, if I'm sarcastic, or a lot of times I'll say, and President Obama is doing a lousy job, meaning that Obama's running the show. They'll say, Donald Trump doesn't know who our president is. No. Because cognitively, I don't know if you saw, but a few months ago, I took a cognitive test. My doctor gave me. I said, give me a cognitive test just so we can, because you know what the standards were. And I aced it. I also took one when I was in the White House. No, I'll let you know when I go bad. I really think I'll be able to tell you, because someday we go bad. But, I've had, and they always say, like Haley, she talks about, we don't need 80-year-old. Well, I don't mind being 80, but I'm 77. That's a big difference. But I have.
Yeah, it is a big difference. 77, 80. There's 3 years in between, Haley. He's not 80 years old yet. I mean,
Again, that was just hyperbolicness out of Nikki's
he's hyping up the crowd, of course. Yeah.
And him too. But 77, 80. I don't give a damn about the number, the competency, what matters. And yes, Trump is right. Obama, as I call him, is indeed the Biden puppet master. Again, Nikki was being hyperbolic. Trump properly responded. Obama, he's saying, is the puppet master, is the one really in charge. He knows Biden is the president. But Trump does the same shit about other opponents, saying hyperbolic, non-contextually correct straw man attacks on opponents. Sadly, far too many do it.
There was something that was brought to my attention the other day on X, guys, because I'm on X a lot here, and there was a certain comment that was brought up where I was saying to a certain amount of people, and a few people in this community chat room, excuse me. And I brought up a comment saying that would it be possible where Trump's going to go into his VP picks, meaning that there's rumors circulating that he might pick Ramaswamy, which was just he was just shown on the campaign trail with Donald Trump just the other day, right, Shaky? Yeah, the other day we seen pictures of him in videos. So that could be a choice right there. Ramaswamy is another America's first type of candidate. When he was running for president, he was showing that same Trump demeanor of America first, right? So that could be a choice. Another choice. South Dakota. That could be another choice. Then there was a choice of stating, before I go there, guys, there was a choice, because I went into other things here too. Joseph's been talking. I'm trying to get my train of thought clear. But I brought up Tucker Carlson. I brought up a couple different people. I know that's like hitting it left out center field with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson would be good because of the mouthpiece, the actual factual information that Tucker does deliver from time to time. That would be good, but he's not. He doesn't have any any political experience. But who's to say? Because Trump didn't have political experience either, and look how great some of his presidency was from 2016 to 2020. So you really can't bash him on that. But when I brought that up, here's where it went sour, Joe. They were like, nope, Donald Trump is going to pick somebody that he can control. Control? Do you think he picks people because of a control factor?
And you should in some cabinet posts.
No, they're stating that he picked Mike Pence because Mike Pence was easily controlled.
No,
he picked him because he was a troll. That's what they used. He was a troll that he was able to control.
I think
he easily control.
Pence, in hindsight, turned out to be a bad choice. But
without a doubt.
In 2016, he made sense for being a governor. Because, like you said, I disagree. Trump had no governing experience. He had plenty political experience, being in politics behind the scenes forever. So Pence made sense no rhyme pun intended. Pence made sense in 2016 as his VP for various reasons. You pick a VP for various reasons. For me, it's Trump Gnome 2024 for a lot of strategic reasons.
Kristi Noem would be a good pick.
Yeah, you've got to think strategy. Flyover state purposes. She has governing and congressional experience.
As soon as I said Kristi Noem, I also threw in some facts, too. I said, Kristi Noem is also the only governor in America that did not shut down her state.
Correct. DeSantis.
And they were like, no. Ron DeSantis didn't shut down his state. I was like, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. He did shut his state down. What I mean by shut the state down, what I mean by lock your state down, I mean that, okay, restaurants were only open up to business through drive-through service and through ride-sharing apps like Uber Eats and all that other stuff. That's the lockdown mentality that I'm going at. You weren't allowed to go anywhere without wearing a mask. That's lockdown mentality. Kristi Noem did not force her citizens to wear masks. She didn't force her restaurants to do the drive-through service. She didn't force any of that. As soon as I said that, you know what the trolls say, right, Joe? Oh, yeah. Well, she's an idiot, and that state doesn't really present business to begin with. What? That's your comeback?
That's again. They're being a cultist for somebody else. I deal in the pros and cons, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Pros. All of it.
They're probably a Bernie bro.
Yeah, well, again, yes, DeSantis quickly backpedaled and undid his lockdown, but he can't say he never did. Hell, Charlie Crist even attacked DeSantis for locking down Florida in their debate. Charlie Crist, a Democrat. The fascocrats locked down every state that they ran, but he, tried to attack DeSantis foolishly on that. But it is factual to say DeSantis locked down Florida for a while. He backtracked. Yes, Kristi Noem didn't do that. She's a constitutionalist. Not 1 second did she do that in her state. So she has that going for her. The VP slot you pick for various strategic reasons. A lot of posturing. They have to be something you're not. Now, to Vivek, you mentioned, no way I support him for VP or president because of, they're attacking Nikki. Democrat donors. Yeah. Look at Vivek's campaign finances. A lot of Soros PAC front group money backs Vivek. Vivek is a slick-talking Obama with an R next to his name. I don't trust him. Put him in the cabinet, perfect for press secretary maybe, or department of whatever, but VP or president, no, don't trust them.
Yeah. Guys, I want to bring up some attention here for our merchandise, guys. If you head over to savagedarmy.com, pick up this Joe Original T-shirt. All the Joe jokes, puns, all that good stuff you hear on the show, guys. Pick up the shirt, support Joe. Awesome shirt, guys. Couple good ones on there. So hit this QR code, guys, and you're going to get all that information with that. But before we close it up, Joe, I don't know. Like, do you feel that Nikki Haley should drop out? Do you think it's a waste of time? Do you think any of her policies will attract even MAGA supporters that support Trump?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Again, if people are honest and not being a cultist for or against anyone. And yeah, remember ROAR, Restore Our American Republic gear too. Don't wear your heart on your sleeve, but wear your ROAR message on your chest. How's that for a tagline?
Yeah.
SavageArmy.com. Yep. SavageArmy.com. A lot of great stuff there. But yeah, if people are being honest, there's some good stuff in Nikki. There's some bad stuff in Nikki. I'm not going to just all out support or attack. I give you honesty, the good, the bad, the ugly. No one is above criticism, and no one, especially on the GOP side, is all bad. Any of them, any day of the week, is far better than any fascocrats.
You people can complain all you want. You can call me bird brain, nasty Nikki, neocon Nikki, Nimrod, Nimrata. You don't like that I'm for open borders and illegal immigration? That's fine. You don't like that I got filthy rich by selling my influence to the military-industrial complex? That's fine. You don't like that I want to start World War III anywhere, anytime, any way that I can? That's fine. You don't like that I want to raise the age for Social Security? That's fine. You don't like that I want to make people dox themselves to use the internet? That's fine. You don't like that I'm paid for by a Democrat who's been to Epstein's Island? That's fine. But let me remind you, this is America. Those globalist oligarchs you hate so much have a right to have their voices heard. If they want to pay someone to represent their interests, well, that's fine too. Sometimes the world needs a whore. And if you're asking me, that time is now. Hail Hydra.
That is a whore.
That was a good one, Joe. I had to put that in there. Yeah.
That is a hilarious deep fake video. That is wonderful. Again, some of those things are legitimate criticisms. Some of it is, of course, just hyperbolic bullshit attacks because they want to be a cultist for another candidate. Let's talk policy and issue. Nikki certainly is not my choice now, nor ever, for president. But if she got the nomination, I would hold my nose for her over Biden, Hitlery,
I think she's
Michael
just staying
Obama.
in the race, man, because here's what I think. I think she's just staying in the race because she's put there on purpose to literally try to just, if she can, Joe, bring down Donald Trump in the remaining of the months till November. That's all. She's trying to pull some MAGA supporters from his base to vote for her and this and that, and why she's the good candidate and Donald Trump is the bad candidate. Donald Trump and Nikki has worked together. So, I mean,
yes.
Nikki, your polls are very low. The messaging is not there. Just drop out. Respectfully drop out, like Ron DeSantis seen that he had no chance in hell. Ramaswamy the same way. There's nothing bad about dropping out. I mean, if anything, when Donald Trump becomes the president in 2024 in November, which everybody believes he's going to, because everybody's getting fed up with America we're seeing now, you might have a cabinet position under Trump, Nikki. I mean, think of that. Think of the legacy that you can continue with your message as a cabinet member of the Trump administration in November. Think of that. I mean, Ramaswamy, he's already bringing up suggestions and messages right to Trump. You seen that just the other day when he was on the campaign trail with him. Think of stuff like that, Nikki. Don't attack somebody that can bring prestige and glory to this nation like Donald Trump. Don't attack him for that. Work with him. I want people to work with people that are strong, because Donald Trump has strong messages. Like Ron DeSantis, okay? Yeah, go back to Florida, work on Florida a little bit more. Maybe after your governorship, you can work with Donald Trump, right? And then maybe, just maybe, he has a clear shot into 2028, Joe. Maybe.
Right.
I mean,
right. Now, I don't begrudge. Now, barring a major meltdown by Trump himself, he's always had this nomination shown up. But I don't begrudge any of the others who got in the race, because you do so for other strategic reasons, right? Bolstering for a VP slot, bolstering for a cabinet slot, positioning for a future presidential run. I get that. I don't begrudge any of them. But I do agree that then now is the time. It's clear Trump's the nominee. Now is the time she should drop out like the others. If she waits till South Carolina primary, okay, because she's from South Carolina, even though Tim Scott, also from South Carolina, I wish he would have stayed in the race longer, because he's got a lot of good things to say. Sometimes you run just because there's one or two issues you want to push, even though you've got no chance at the nomination. I don't begrudge any of them for doing that. Again, I'm not going to hate them just because I'm for Trump this time. And as you said, maybe DeSantis in the future. Not now, but maybe the future. I've got no problem with any of this. But after South Carolina, for sure, she's got to drop out.
She has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she has to drop out. There's no message behind it. There's no reason for her to continue with this charade of just a nominal tax and all that other garbage. I mean, come on, stop that. No one wants to hear all that stuff. I mean, I don't even know what the hell she's doing it for.
Well, again, she's a moderate. Trump is a populist. I'm a conservative / constitutionalist, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has their lane and wants to push particular issues or topic positions. And there is a lane for that. She has an audience for certain things she's saying. So, again, I don't begrudge anyone. No one is perfect. We are. If you don't disagree with someone, at least on one thing, you're a cultist. You're not a real person.
Yeah.
You're not a thinker.
Yeah, hold that thought, Joseph. I want to plug this last video in here of just this whole crap of things that we're talking about today, guys. Check this out.
He was good at breaking things. You got to be good at fixing things, too. This is a time we've got to fix America. That's what we're focused on. And rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him.
Well,
we have to fix America. We have to fix America. But damn right we have to fix America.
Again,
we've been trying to fix America, Nikki, for the last 3.5, 4 years now. I mean, America needs to be healed.
We need to fix America. Agree. We need to restore our American republic. Stop this.
We need to seal our damn borders, too, Joe.
Yeah. Stop this fundamental transformation of America into something it wasn't.
We need to stop funding our cities that are housing illegal immigrants. We need to channel out the laws that should be placed there instead of placing them in 5-star hotels in sanctuary cities for the American taxpayer to pick up the bill. That's what we have to stop doing. We're bankrupting our nation, literally left and right.
Well, like I said, Trump is not a fiscal conservative. Yeah, he cut the White House budget, a couple million here and there, but allowed multiple trillions to the debt because he didn't veto to demand spending cuts where it really mattered. So again, they all have some good, they all have some bad. Does chaos follow Trump? Yeah, because he's a very different kind of guy and brings out the Trump derangement syndrome in people. So yeah, there's chaos because they mercifully, God almighty, if I could get the right word, attack Trump. So yeah, I did a Michael there. Yeah,
did a Michael, of course.
But yeah, they attack him all the time. So is there chaos with Trump? Yeah, but it's because he's a target. And he's a target for the right reasons most of the time. Again, like you said, because we had the most secure border in this nation's history under Trump, and the open borders types don't like that. There's pros and cons to all of these people. Again, if there's not one thing you disagree with somebody on, you're not a thinker. You're not your own person. You're a sheeple.
As I close it up, guys, my message here for Nikki is, Nikki, like I said again, and I'll repeat, I think it's time for you to drop out. Let Trump run the race that he needs to run to restore this nation back to its glory. I'm sorry to say, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, because we heard in that one clip, she doesn't mean to be disrespectful, right? But I'm going to say this to you, Nikki, right? I'm not being disrespectful, but it's time to drop out because your message is not there. No, people are not backing your message. They're not jumping behind you with that message. They're going to Trump because Trump has been in the White House before. Americans seen the jobs under Trump before. They've seen strong border policies under Trump before. He's done all that, and he can do it again.
Yeah,
I don't think Nikki Haley can do or accomplish any of what I just mentioned, Joseph.
Right. She's run her race. She's made her points, and you and I both agree with some of the points she's making. But you're not resonating. Oh, God Almighty!
Not resonating with her supporters, or if any supporters that she has.
You've made your
New
point.
Hampshire just clearly
time
seen
to
that.
move on. Yeah.
I mean, New Hampshire's seen that. The rest of the nation's seen that. Iowa has seen that. All these places that they've been through, right? All the candidates, they've seen what Nikki is presenting, and they're not standing behind that because they. I mean, I'm probably gonna sound nasty here, but they look at as Nikki as a clown, as a person that's just doing it just to, create a division between the supporters of Trump and the rest of whatever she has, I guess. But
again, no one is above criticism, but stick to policy and issues and what they've actually said, not this bullshit. Well, she said this when she didn't, or Trump said this when he didn't. Straw man bullshit. Have honest debate. That's fair. But again, you're not resonating. You've made your points. Time to drop out and coalesce behind Trump. We must defeat Biden to even have any chance at attempting to restore our American Republic again.
Yeah. And like I said, guys, thank you very much for dropping by here as we've been live streaming here on the main Savage Unfiltered X account here, as well as Jay Leonard author account here on X. Thank you very much for some of his supporters dropping by and some of his listeners dropping by and listening in, as well as Joseph's YouTube channel. So every time when we do these recordings, guys, like I said, you can get a sneak peek of these episodes a raw sneak peek. It's raw. It's raw formula. It's not, all the nice little edits that we do for our Rumble and YouTube.
Yeah,
but,
raw and uncut, truly savaged, unfiltered.
yeah.
When we're streaming live, I'm streaming, like you said, on my X. I'm streaming on my YouTube, also my LinkedIn account. So we're out there all kinds of places today.
Yeah, I forgot the LinkedIn. Yeah. You do that LinkedIn. Yeah. Guys, thanks very much. Be savage, not average. And till next time, guys.